Canada's Ink independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up! In Nova Scotia, Canada. And this video is a quick little follow-up to a previous video I did. And the title of that video, I believe, was When You're Feeling Too Overwhelmed to Create. And one of my suggestions in the video was having good organization in your stamping space, in your craft room, your little closet, whatever space you have for stamping. I think it's really important that if you have it organized, then you're not going to feel overwhelmed to start stamping, because I have a lot of customers and friends and different people that have told me like they don't know where to start, they can't find things, they don't know how to organize their paper, whatever it may be, and everybody's system is completely different. So I showed what works for me, but I also showed it when I was in the process of renovating my room of all times. There was carpet, old shag carpet from the 1970s. Yes, sir, I kid you not. So you can imagine if a little stamp fell out of a photopolymer stamp set, how hard it would be for me to find in this crazy carpet. And it was just time. It was time to pull it up and just start fresh. So a couple of years I had painted the wall. It was the brown paneling. It was just too dark. So I painted the walls, but I hadn't dealt with the carpet until recently. So I ripped it all up and then set things up. Then I did my little video on how I organize my room, because I do need to have my room organized pretty much at all times, because this is my business, this is what I do full time, and I need to know where my things are and where I can find things and so on and so forth. But since that video, I've actually painted the floors, and it took me 2 days to figure out how I wanted to put everything back. And my work desk is massive and so heavy that with all my pushing around and rearranging, of course I had to repaint spots on the floor because I scratched all that paint up. But I have to tell you, I'm happier than ever with how this has come together, and just the layout, it feels great. It's just got a nice flow about it in here. It's very cozy and it's a happy place to stamp in, and I think that's really important for those of us who like to create and craft and stamp, to have that space that feels good and positive. Okay, so you're ready to see what I've done with this room? I think you're gonna like it. I know I do. Okay, so one of the reasons why I decided to show my craft room to you is because I wanted to let you know that no matter what space you have, you can make it work, whether it's a big room or a small room. This room is smaller than the room I had at my last home. My last home had quite a big studio, so it was a challenge for me to organize and how am I going to set things up. But where there's a will, there's a way. So I just wanted to show you that no matter what kind of space you have, it doesn't have to look like the perfect IKEA hobby room, or it doesn't have to look like those amazing craft rooms that we see on Pinterest, so we all drool over them. You just need to create a space that makes you happy and where you can create and find your things. So hopefully you can pick up some tips on how I have set my room up that you can incorporate into your stamping space. Okay, so I don't know, looking through the camera, it looks like it's, you know, pretty cramped maybe, but it's not. It's a really nice workable space. So I'm walking in and you can see I've painted the floor just a neutral color. There's Cooper sound asleep with his bone and his toys everywhere. Stamp order just came in. That's pretty exciting. Can't wait to dig into that. So when I first walk in, there's a shelf over here, and I've got, you know, some magazines and some tubs and my photo albums. These have different bits of ribbon. Let me just show you here. In this one, there's bits and pieces from leftover cards that I can use for different projects. Here's some of my designer series paper. I have some stamp magazines, and then, you know, the British Country Living and a couple other magazines that I enjoy. And then this is just an old wood crate. I love all these old things, just for a little display of some of the things that I've made or been given over the years. And a couple people noticed my shutters in my previous video. I just picked these up at a restore. I paid $5 for them and painted them and just screwed them on the wall, and then I just like to stick little cards in them. And then coming around here, I wanted to make sure that my desk was set up in a way so if I had friends or somebody wanted to come stamp with me, all I have to do is move this, and I've got a chair here, and you know, our backs aren't to each other. We can like have conversation, have some drinks and appies, whatever, but just have some fun time stamping. So it was important to me to set up my desk in a way that I could have somebody join me if they wanted to stamp with me. And then I have a bigger room where I have my classes and can fit a lot more people. So standing at my doorway, turning to my right, now that cord I will fix down the road, but that is my direct line for my internet. So it looks not so great right now, but that will be moved. And then here I just have some more shelves. I have my Bake Shot dies in here, and my embossing folders, my punch boards, and then just odds and sods. And then I have another old box here, wooden crate, and this is where I store my 12 by 12 paper. And then over here on my shelf, I have my Bake Shot and my Stampin' Trimmer. And this is where I store all my cardstock based on the color families and specialty paper, designer series paper. So that works really good for me. And since these are out, I will just show little gifts that I've made for some of my customers in my Stamp Club order. They're little Tic Tac holders, just a cute little Valentine's gift I want to stick in with their club orders. I also had questions about this shelf. This shelf I picked up years ago from Michael's, and I have my ribbons on it. This row here, they're all retired. These ones here, well, some of them are retired, but I keep my current ribbon that I use mostly in this tub, and then I just usually put this whole little tub right on my desk when I'm stamping. But that's what this is, and then my punches, and these are just some old stamps I've had for years and years. Again, I've shown some of this in my previous videos. This is just a nice little rack that I have to hold bits and pieces for my scrapbooking albums, another shutter. And then over here I have another shelf. Now these are my retired stamps. In my 17 years of being a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, these are the only stamps that I have kept. And I do go through them periodically, and sometimes I will pull some out and I'll set them aside to sell at my buy one get one sales. But generally, for the most part, there's sets that I do want to hang on to. You can see some of the old clam cases here, knobbly gnomes, coast to coast, the open sea. Maybe you guys remember some of these. So these are just some sets that I really am partial to. I don't know if you remember my video for this card, but I love that stamp set, so I've kept that one. So those are just some retired stamps, some retired dies that I've kept. I've got my heat tool there. And then over here is another great big closet. And in here are things I don't use every day, except for these. These are my embossing powders and my dazzling diamonds. Normally they're all spun around so I can see what I'm pulling out. So they're just clear containers that I've marked, you know, clear, white, copper, and my embossing powders over here too. So these are just bits and pieces for stamping, but also for other crafting, you know, paints and different things that all of us creative people like to have. Alrighty, here is my workstation. So I've got my printer set up, I've got my my computer. Quite often I have my cat Lewis lying here, sometimes my cat Romeo, so that makes it tricky for doing my blog posts, trying to type with them right there. But it's nice when I come in early in the morning. I'm an early girl, so I can sit here with my coffee and just have my lamp on, and it's just a nice little spot to do my work. There's lots of light in here. Don't know how well the camera picks it up, but there's quite a bit of light in here. I mostly have this lamp on here so that if I decided I wanted to film or take photos for my blog, it's already set up and ready to go. Alrighty, so these two shelves here, these I also showed in my previous video. Some people asked me, where did you get those? These are DVD shelves, and I picked them up at a store locally. I believe it was Rossi, something like that. I'm sure Walmart, different places sell them. I paid $20 each. Now that was on sales. I don't know what they would normally go for, or where, you know, where you live, what they would cost. And of course, I'm in Canada, but any DVD shelf of a similar style would work. And somebody asked me if they're in alphabetical order. Yes, they are. They are in alphabetical order, I can't lie. I have my alphabet stamps up here because there's so many tiny little pieces. I worry about if the case isn't fully closed, about them falling out, so I want to keep those stamp sets lying this way. And then these are paper pumpkin stamps, and my Stamparatus actually tucks right in here, which is good. Then I have my my stamps, my ink refills, and then just things that I use regularly. I like to keep my markers handy. I've just got a little thingamajigger there, just kind of propping it up. Okay, so in here, these are our Stampin' containers that you can buy. I have my dimensionals, my diamonds. Let's see here. Got my watercolor pencils and my aqua painters. Everything is handy for when I am stamping and crafting. I've got my blocks here, and then more dimensionals and diamonds, snail, fine tip glue pen. So when I'm sitting here, I can easily craft. Oh, are you guys maybe wondering what these are? These are also little thank you cards for my Stamp Club members. Not finished yet. I need to put a little sentiment on them, but those will be tucked in their bags as well. So I love making 3x3 cards and putting them in orders for my local customers. So there you go. This is my crafting space. Crafting rooms, I think, always end up getting rearranged and set up differently. But once you find something that works for you, it will really make a difference with your just your creativity. It will just flow nicely because you know where everything is and you can find everything easily. So I thought I would also show you our rec room. It's a work in progress, but this is where I hold a lot of different classes. I just had my winter stamp camp here last weekend. So I had a second fold-up table along here. So we had a great big long table, and we had 8 of us in here comfortably. We had the music on. It was just a really nice time, and we're not cramped. So if I have events at home, this is where I have them. And then, you know, lots of food put out. You gotta have lots of food when you're stamping. So when I say I have classes in a different room, this is a really big room, little fridge there. So it's a work in progress, but it works good for me. And then yes, I have a lot of events at a local community center, because I know I've been asked where do I have my classes. So sometimes they're here at my home, and other times they're just at our local community center. So there you have it, guys, the completed craft room. Thanks to those of you who have been asking. I know some of you have been anxiously waiting to see how I was going to put it all back together. So I'm really, really pleased with it. It's a very comfortable space for me. It's a very serene place, which is appropriate for me. And considering I spend most of my days working in this room, I really needed it to be a place where I could find things and just feel in a nice atmosphere for creating in. And I do believe that that's really key in just being productive and wanting to craft. So there you go, a little tour of my crafting space. And I hope you enjoyed seeing a little bit into my world and where I work. So thank you for watching, and happy stamping.